here. We are bringing back Inspiration Wednesday, and I've got a brand new, empty, blank, ready to go inspiration journal. I have added a second signature into mine. Signature is just the sections of paper, so that I can work throughout the year and keep it all in kind of one place. So if you want to work in an inspiration journal, you can. If you don't, that's quite all right too, because it's really just about the processes of going through. So I am going to be working on my beginning pages. I have the inclusion and the first page. I'm going to get some gesso out. I'm going to start gessoing my pages so that I can prime them for the first week of art. So I really like the Liquitex gesso because I just like to pour it out. It makes life easier for me, and I'm kind of messy, and I have my dirty paint water here and everything. And I'm going to be using a catalyst brush. These are those really long handled brushes, but the bristles, they are made of some kind of poly kind of thing, and the acrylic paint doesn't essentially stick to them. So they're just really good to use, and I'm sloppy, so feel free to be sloppy. And I'm just gonna gesso all of this page, and way more gesso than I need. We're just gonna call that a good time. And paint it on there, let it dry, come back, and be ready to paint some stuff. Alright, so I'm sitting here and I'm kind of waiting for paint to dry, and then I realized maybe I want to put some super heavy gesso. So if you've never used this product, it's by Liquitex. It is literally what it says, super heavy gesso. It's kind of like peanut butter consistency, and you would apply with a palette knife. I'm sure you could use a brush, but it's a little thicker. So I use this when I want to make some kind of texture. Now, could I have not gessoed the page and gone with this? Yes, but even if I knew this is where I was going to go with it, I probably would have gessoed the page anyway, just so I don't have to use this as a page filler as much as a texturizing element. So I'm not using it like I would a modeling paste. I'm kind of just gessoing the surface, but yet making some really cool texture. Do you have to use this? No, you could use anything. You can use gel medium or whatever, but this one's fun. So I'm just going to leave that kind of texture on there. And I'm going to do the back side of this, and then I'll let that dry, and then I'll do the front side of the inclusion. Alright, so I've got a couple things here. I've got, my art is stencil, and I've got my alphabet lettering template, I've got my new glasses, and I've got some stencil letters here to spell the word artist. So I'm kind of figuring to collage a whole bunch of things. It's kind of the beginning of the book. I want to tell you who I am, tell a little bit about myself. So this is a great way to start. But now I just got to figure out how to get it all together. So I'm just going to time lapse as I figure it all out. I'm going to put some here, and I did use the hairdryer to blow everything dry. So I'm just going to play around. Once I get kind of my idea, my mojo going, then I'll come back. Alright, so I'm going to have to do some layering, which means I'm going to use some modeling paste. This is the light one. It dries a lot quicker than the regular modeling paste, but for this it wouldn't really matter what you use. I'm just going for the side of drying time here. So I'm going to be layering stencils. So I want to put the year 2015 in here. So I'm going to have to be very diligent to keep moving this and drying in between. That means I'm going to be putting this down, doing the two, drying it with a heat gun enough so that I can put the stencil back over it and not ruin the design. And I'm going to keep going back like that using modeling paste and a palette. If you've never used modeling paste before, it's like icing a cake. You just take it out with your palette knife and put it through the stencil. So again, time-lapsing this, but just going back and forth, setting up the first page, drying in between. You can use a heat gun. Just, it's easier for me to use a hairdryer. It's just a bit quicker and takes the humidity out. Alright, so I've dried this enough to the touch that it's not going to get ruined, but it's certainly not cured. So I'm just going to flip this, and I'm going to work on this page over here. So I want to take stencils, and I've got, it's just regular stencils, and I want to spell artist kind of running off like this, and it's not going to fit. So I know that, and I know that the eye will also fill it in. So I'm just going to do that. And again, the same process. I have to put one down, wait for it to dry a little bit so I can put the next one down and just spell out the word artist. So I will keep doing this fast, or time lapse it, and then I'll come back. Alright, so my pages are finally dry, and I'm going to do a glaze on top. And I don't think I've ever glazed during Inspiration Wednesday, so it's going to be fun to do. It's my first one, first page, and I have been glaze fanatic lately. So I'm going to glaze with you, and I'm going to put some, normally I don't freak out about anything going all over the place, but I know that I'm messy. So I'm just going to put some brown craft paper, just junky paper, underneath here, and I'm going to start to glaze. Now the cool thing about glaze is that it catches in all the nooks and crannies, and I have all this texture here, and you could glaze in any color. Now this is what we're going to use. It's by Golden. It's acrylic glazing liquid, and basically it takes any of your paint and it kind of extends the working time of it, and it also makes it like a sheerer, like a more transparent color. And I'm going to do this with quinacridone magenta, and if you've ever done any home decor, you've probably done glazing on the wall. So I'm just going to go ahead. I've got my puddle of paint here. Make sure I'm on camera. And then I just, to make it easy, just take the glaze right into it. And it should be like a 50-50. And I think I made way too much. But just to let you know, it's usually like a 50-50. The more glaze you add, the thinner your glaze will be, more transparent, and the less, the more solid. So I have some really dirty brushes here. They have a little bit of brown in them. So I'm just going to leave them and see kind of what we get. So I'm mixing this up, and I'm going to paint it on. Now it's really scary, especially when you do like brown or black. I'm just going to paint it right over this. I'm going to let it sit for about a minute, and then I'm going to take a baby wipe and wipe it away. And what should happen, if all goes right in the world, the glaze will kind of seep into the nooks and crannies, and as I wipe it away, it'll stay, and kind of like a stain, and then I will have this beautiful quinacridone magenta page, and then I'm thinking I might glaze again with some teal on top. I know, you're giddy. You're giddy with me, I feel it. So I'm just going to do this side, and of course I'll do the flip side of this, but I can only do one at a time. So I'm going to do this, let it sit for a minute, and then come back, wipe it away with a baby wipe. Alright, so it's been a minute. I've just got a regular old baby wipe, and I'm just going to wipe it away. Now the longer you wait, the longer it might stay and stain. So you kind of ride this fine line between have I waited long enough and have I waited too long. And you can always reglaze. Like, so after I wipe this off, if I decide, oh, I wish I would have had more glaze on there, I could always do it again. And every time you flip to a clean side of the wipe, you're going to get more off. So I'm just leaving it dirty for now. Oh, that looks great right there. And then you'll see once I get a clean wipe, I'll take a lot of it off. So it's just kind of playing around with how you want it. You don't have to take more off. And like I said, if you took too much off, you can go back in with your glaze, but I really like that. Oh, that's nice. See, I'm a mess. That's why I have to have that paper underneath there. All right, I don't think I'm going to wipe away any more than that. Maybe this side, because I want it to match. I'm going to let this dry for a minute or two, and then I'll flip this over, and then I'll do the back side of this. Alright, so I'm just going to take this and kind of fold it in half and put it under here and try this side. There was some paint that rubbed off on this side. I know that I'm painting it, but I didn't want it to be dry before the other paint, so I'm just going to do this side. I'm really excited to see how it's going to collect around the glasses. I just put my hand in paint. Perfect. I just really wanted magenta hands. And I'll be back in a minute after it sets up and wipe it away. And now to wipe it off. So I'm thinking, if I can glaze the magenta, why can't I glaze over with turquoise? So I'm going to do the same thing. New paper, because I did make a hot mess. And just go over it with teal. Because, you know, you need to have the teal. Let's get serious. So I'm just going to make a new puddle here. Not as big as the last one, because that was a lot. And I'm going to cleaner brush. Mix it up and just put it on over. so I've waited about a minute, and I'm gonna wipe that off. And hopefully I should see both through there. Some teal, some magenta. They do make purple. I knew that going in. Just saying. All right, waited about a minute, and I'm just gonna wipe that away. All right, so that's dry, and I wanna put a stamp. So it just kind of hides underneath there. That says be empowered. But to stamp, I'm just gonna make sure the book is flat. So I'm gonna open that up, and I'm just gonna take some archival ink, which is just my jumbo ink pad over here. You can use StazOn. You just test it first. Yep, that looks great. So I'm just gonna stamp it so it's underneath. Hopefully lined up. Perfect. Oh, I love that. Love. Okay, so looking at it, I think I just definitely need something around the edges, like a distressing. So I'm just going to go look through my inks and see if I find something I love. You know, I don't really have a nice vibrant pink of distress or anything like that. So I'm just going to go around the edges with my finger with some of that quinacridone magenta paint. And I have a little bit of the glaze on there. So if I get too much, you know, I can take a baby wipe and kind of wipe it back too. So I'm just going to go around that with some of the glaze that I have left over since I made a ton. Alright, so I'm just going to give it a little walnut stain around the edges. I figured let me try it out, just darken it up a little bit more, add another layer of it. Alright, so no self-respecting inspiration. Wednesday would be complete, and the only stamp I can find is a French one, because I'm still in the midst of moving and packing, so I did find a date stamp. It's just en français. So I'm going to stamp that on there. Oh, do I go this way? I'm going to go this way because it's the way I normally do. January 7th. Oh, 2014. Let's do 2015. Alright, let's try that one more time. And we'll pretend that never happened. Perfect. And I'm thinking I'm going to have to ink the edges of this. So let me get my little distressing tool here. And I'm going to have to rip it because, you know. Let's just rip that sucker. Hopefully I don't rip the date. Get some in there, and oh no, I've got to find my tiny attacher, and I think that's where that needs to go. Hello, tiny attacher, where have you been? Okay, that took forever to find, because again, I haven't used it since Inspiration Wednesday, and 3 staples will do it. Oh, I don't want to staple through there, or do I want to staple it here? Maybe a stick out down there. I gotta be honest, that's making me a lot happier. Or do I do it over the... Oh, so many decisions. Let's just go with that. 1 page. 1, 2, 3. Woohoo! Inspiration Wednesday, 1st of 2015. Complete. Woo woo!